Now, if you have listened to anything that I've said over the last few years and been reading my blog, some of this will come as not a huge surprise, but I do want to give you a tangible example, a physical, actual example of the stuff that I'm talking about when it comes to where you're getting your recruiting advice from. I want you to have good recruiting advice, obviously, but I want that recruiting advice to come from good sources so that you are getting insight and information that is going to be beneficial to you. I'm talking 6-foot view versus 30,000 foot view, which is the viewpoint that I find a lot of athletes and families are getting information. And not that information is necessarily wrong. It's just not information that's helpful to you specifically. We've been doing this for years and years and have decades of experience and have helped hundreds of athletes through the process. We have a unique and specific viewpoint because we can pull in all these different experiences with all these different athletes at all these different levels to help navigate individual athletes. The specific example that I want to give you comes in the form of an email that was shared with me by a Division I coach. They crossed off all the names, and I've made sure to cross off the name of the school, things like that, so that you guys can't see that. But I want to share that picture with you so you guys can see it. All right, so this email, and again, this is just a portion of the email. The email says, my daughter plays varsity volleyball at such and such high school. She's under the impression that if a person doesn't play club volleyball, that they won't get recruited by college scouts. Can you please speak on the realities of her misguided assumptions concerning player access and visibility for scouts? This is a really talented, really good school, really good college, a very exceptional volleyball program as well. Probably why this parent was reaching out to this coaching staff. And there's 3 things that I really want to hit on, okay, when it comes to this. Obviously, either this parent was getting no advice or had some bad advice that they were giving, but we're going to talk about 3 different things. Okay? So the first thing that I want to address, can you play college volleyball and not play club volleyball? Sure. But in the year 2025, I don't think that happens very often. I'm sure it does. Maybe not at the Division I and Division II level, maybe Division III NAIA, that happens a little bit more. Again, there's 17,000 college volleyball athletes playing right now at the NCAA level. Potentially some of them didn't play club, and that's fine. But we're talking about a small number. The majority of athletes that are getting recruited to play college are playing club. Also, some of those situations are going to be extremely unique, right? So this athlete grew up in the town where that school is. She's been going to camp since she was 10. She's a good culture fit. She's a good athlete. She's going to help the program. She wants more than anything else in the world to be a part of that volleyball program at that school. It's just a good fit. It's a good situation. She doesn't play club. Can that happen? Sure. But again, generally speaking, most athletes are getting recruited out of club versus out of high school at this point. Okay. So on that note, the daughter is correct and not the dad. And that's a big part of where there's this disconnect with this parent is the daughter is probably sitting there going, all of my friends at high school are playing club volleyball and they're getting recruited. I'm not playing club volleyball and I want to get recruited. So then I need to tell my dad that I need to play club volleyball. And dad is obviously shooting this down, saying that his daughter is misguided. Okay, so thing number 2, the college coach that received this email can't email the parent back. All right. This athlete, turns out, is a freshman in high school, and Division I college coaches cannot respond to emails from freshmen. So this coach can't even respond to the parent. And this is a fairly simple question, right? It's not even anything about his daughter or is she good enough? Can she help your program? Are you interested? It's not even anything like that. It's just a simple recruiting question that this coach can't answer because the athlete is a freshman. So the college coach has to reach out to the high school coach in order to get back to the family this information. Now, if the family or the parent, in this case, knew more about the recruiting process, they would know that they can't hear back from a Division I coach, even though you can reach out to them. You can definitely reach out to them as a freshman, and you should. If you're trying to get recruited by a school, you should definitely reach out to them. But you'll know that coach can't email you back. So that's thing 2. Thing 3 that I want to point out, every sport is different. Without making too many assumptions about this family and the parents, I would imagine that the father that is sending this email probably did play college athletics. My guess is that he played football in some way. And because his experience, his individual experience of playing football. He probably got recruited from high school to play college football, or maybe he played baseball and he got recruited playing high school baseball. I don't know the specifics, but again, his experience is, I didn't play club sports. Why do you need to play club sports to get recruited if that didn't happen to me? And so every sport is different. I feel like the first 2 years I was doing this, majority of my conversations were with parents and families that had gone through the recruiting process before with a different sport. And typically that was with a male sport, either football or baseball. And they were confused at why volleyball was different. While I can't necessarily point to all the reasons why volleyball is different than other sports, it is, okay? We can go back and forth on why that is, but it is different. And so we need to treat it differently. And even now, football, basketball, baseball, sports that I don't deal with, they probably have different recruiting processes now than they did 23, 30 years ago. I know when my wife was getting recruited, she sent VHS tapes in an envelope, and you sent one. And that was probably all you send out at that point. Now we send emails every other week. We send updated film every week, right? After a qualifier, we can boom, boom, get in front of college coaches all the time, really consistently. We weren't doing that 25, 30 years ago. So Jason, is this kind of an extreme example? Sure, it is. It's a little bit of an outlier, but at the same time, we need to make sure that the advice and the information that we're getting is coming from a source that has a background in the thing. If I'm trying to fix my car, I go see the car mechanic because he does it for a living and I don't. Recruiting really shouldn't be any different. And there is a lack of education on how the process actually works. And this is something I've been trying to communicate consistently for the last 7 years. But it turns out that every year we still have a lot of parents, a lot of families, a lot of athletes that assume a lot about the recruiting process and don't actually know a lot about the recruiting process. You are spending a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money on this sport to play college volleyball. You should be making sure that you're getting the best advice that you can as you go through the process. So thank you guys for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and I will see you next time.